Okay, we're live. We're live in my Facebook group and we're live on Instagram. So today is going to be a continuation of yesterday. So what I decided to do was to come on here, go live, talk to you a little bit about what on earth my masterclass is going to be about this Thursday. Okay, my free masterclass. And so I wanted to make sure that you are aware, like, is this something that I want to go to? Do I want to spend my time? Do I want to spend an hour of my time going to this masterclass? Am I going to get anything out of it? And so that's what we started talking about yesterday. So today is going to be a continuation of that. So yesterday we talked about, like, what kind of symptoms might you be having that would mean you would want to be in this masterclass. Okay. I'll quickly cover those again today. Then we're going to go into why do you have those symptoms? That's what I want to cover today, is like, why are we slowly gaining weight and this wasn't an issue before? Or why have we always struggled with gaining weight our entire lives, right? So we're going to get into that a little bit. Now, in my masterclass, and if you have not signed up for my masterclass yet, those of you who are on Instagram, go into the link in my bio and you can sign up for the masterclass there completely free. And then if you're in my Facebook group, you know that I've put it in here several times. I'll attach it to this video again. In that masterclass, I'm actually going to talk about the roadmap. So great, we know the symptoms that we have. We know maybe why we might be having the symptoms. Now let's talk about, like, how the heck do we get these symptoms to be gone, right? And somebody just asked, does it matter that I missed the first part? You can go back and watch the first part after today, because I'm going to do just kind of like a short recap of what we talked about yesterday. And then you can go back and watch that if you'd like to get some more information. And then we'll do the full-blown masterclass, but that's not going to be like live like I'm doing today. You want to actually sign up for the masterclass. Okay. We'll have a PowerPoint. I'm going to teach you. I'm giving you really great tools on Thursday. So the masterclass is called How to Change Your Genetic Blueprint. So let's talk a little bit about what that means. So your DNA, your genetic blueprint, you have a very specific sequence of DNA that is never going to change. It just won't. Doesn't matter what you do. It's not ever going to change. The thing that we do have control over is the way that our DNA expresses. Okay. So yesterday I used the example of, you can take twins, identical twins. Okay. Identical twins are going to have the exact same sequence of DNA as each other. But if they go live in two separate parts of the country and they have completely different lifestyles, one a healthier lifestyle, one maybe not such a healthy lifestyle, maybe some environmental issues going on as well, then they are going to have different outcomes, right? So they may have different health outcomes. They may have different body composition outcomes, depending on how they're living their lives. And so that's what we're talking about here today, are the things that we do have control over, how our DNA expresses, so that we can get to the results that we want to get to. Okay. So let's quickly go over the symptoms that you may be struggling with. Now, if you are not struggling with at least a few of these symptoms, then this is not going to be the masterclass for you. Okay. I'm going to give you a list of like 7 things, and these are going to be the things that I mostly have reported back to me from ladies saying, here's what got better from working with you. Now, this list of things are also the things that I struggled with before I put this roadmap together to help you get out of the place that you're in. Okay. So if you're struggling with weight gain, that truly is the #1 reason that most women come to me, because you're just, even if it's just a little bit of weight, you're like, why is the scale creeping up? Why is it creeping up slowly? I'm doing everything I can to make it go in the other direction, but it slowly continues to creep up. Now, maybe this is new for you. So maybe you haven't really had to worry about your weight your entire life, but now all of a sudden, what gives? Why is the scale going up? And now you are watching what you're eating. You weren't even watching what you were eating before. Okay. You could also be a person who's always struggled with weight your entire life. It's just always been a struggle for you. Either you've always been overweight, or you might say, well, I haven't really been overweight, but I've had to work really, really hard to keep my weight down. Okay. And that's the camp that I'm in. Always have had to work harder than the next person. You're struggling with fatigue. Okay. So throughout your day, you're struggling. You're having coffee in the afternoon. Maybe you're grabbing energy drinks. You're doing anything that you can do to power through your day. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3 is, okay, I'm hardly making it through my day. I'm powering through. And then when it comes to the time when I can actually sleep, like when I should be sleeping at night, I have insomnia. So now I have trouble sleeping. Okay, that's going to be the 3rd symptom. And we talked a little bit yesterday about why that might be happening, about why. Got to put my phone on do not disturb. Okay, we're back. So why might that be happening? We talked about that in part 1. Okay, so if you want to go back, well, of course, we'll discuss that in the actual masterclass as well. Maybe you're struggling with a low sex drive. You're not desiring your partner like you once did. Nothing wrong with your partner. You're attracted to them. They're great. But you just feel like you might be okay being roommates with them. You just don't have that sexual desire toward them anymore. Okay, there's reasons for all of these things. Okay, that's number 4. Maybe you're struggling with a lower belly pooch or midsection weight gain. Okay. Irregular bowel movements, constipation. Constipation is the number 1 irregular bowel movement that women generally have who come to me. Okay, there's a reason for it as well. There's not just one reason, but there can be several reasons. And that's what we deep dive into to figure out what's going on there. And then lastly, night sweats. Maybe you're struggling with night sweats. Maybe you're struggling with hot flashes, maybe both. Okay, they can be 2 different things. These are the main things. I will also tell you that when I was going through what I went through, I also was going through hair loss. Okay. Not like a little bit of hair thinning, like hair loss. Like, am I going to have hair left on my head? Okay, that can all be a part of this as well. And then just a general lack of motivation. And I think that also kind of goes along with the fatigue, right? Just like not really enjoying life like you did at one point, or not really enjoying the things that you did at one point. So this masterclass is for you if you are struggling with your weight, you're struggling with fatigue, insomnia, or just struggling to sleep at night, constipation, lower belly pooch, midsection weight gain, night sweats, hot flashes, constipation. Okay, this will be for you. So okay, so let's go a little bit deeper into that. So you're struggling with those symptoms. Why might we be having these symptoms? And there are very definite answers for this. One of the reasons is going to be that you may be perimenopausal or menopausal. Now, if you're menopausal, you know it. You know you're menopausal because you're not having a period anymore, okay? And the actual definition of being menopausal is that you haven't had a cycle in a full year. At that point, you can call yourself menopausal, okay? I really should have put my phone on do not disturb. And so, but what is perimenopausal? Because I think we can be a little bit unclear on what that is. And I did go into more detail about that yesterday. But here's one of the main giveaways that a woman is perimenopausal. It is that her progesterone levels have started to lower. And I'm going to go into why. Why do our progesterone levels start to lower when we're becoming perimenopausal? Okay. This is also going to be addressing stressed out women. Because guess what? Stressed out women, I don't care if you're 20, 25, 30, nowhere near being perimenopausal, you can actually put yourself into a perimenopausal state. And a lot of you have done that. Because I know yesterday after my live, I heard from several of you who are under 35, because I keep talking about women over 35, right? Because usually it's around 35 that these perimenopausal symptoms start to show up. But I heard from several of you who are not even 35 yet and are saying, I know you're talking about this masterclass being for women over 35, but like, I'm only 30, I'm only 32, I'm almost 30, but I have all the symptoms that you're talking about. Can I show up to this masterclass as well? And absolutely, because you may be putting yourself into the same place as a woman who is perimenopausal due to her age, but you may be stressing yourself into a perimenopausal state. Okay. And we're going to talk about why, like, why does being perimenopausal matter here? Another reason you can be in this place is because your genetic blueprint. Now, a majority of you probably haven't had your genetics run, but your genetics can give us a lot of answers. Now, very important to understand is that your genetics is not your destiny. So if we find something on your genetics, there's nothing to be afraid of. For the genetic panel that I run, we're not talking medical genetics, okay? We're talking lifestyle genetics. So let me give you, for example, there is a variant, it's the FTO variant. And it's found that a lot of people with this variant have struggled with their weight their entire lives. In fact, they often struggled with obesity from childhood. Now, does that mean everybody with this particular variant struggled with obesity from their childhood? No. It depends on how your DNA is expressing. And that's what we're here to talk about. But it's very interesting to have that information on yourself, right? It's very interesting to, take a look at this report and say, oh, that explains a lot, right? Like, it's not just me and me being weak or not having willpower. It's like my body was made a certain way. Now, of course, I need the answers to like, how do I flip this script, right? And that's what we're talking about. There's an ADRB2 variant. And when people have this particular variant, they tend to gain weight during stressful times. So they become less insulin sensitive, okay? So more insulin resistant during times of stress. Therefore, the weight gain comes on. Anybody ever feel like maybe a little weight gain comes on during times of stress? It could be, genetically speaking, why this is happening. There's the COMT variant. Maybe your phase 2 detoxification pathway is not optimized. And when this happens, now estrogen's a great thing. Estrogen, not only is it a Goldilocks hormone where we need like just the right amount, not too little, not too much. We need just the right amount. But what we also need is, once we've utilized estrogen, we need it to go away. We need to poop it out. Because if that estrogen doesn't poop out because our phase 2 detoxification is not optimized, that estrogen becomes toxic to your body. It becomes toxic, and you are now in a place of estrogen dominance. So having this information, we go, okay, if we know we've got that COMT variant, I should hone in on my detoxification. Now, a popular one that I think a lot of people know about is the MTHFR mutation. And this tells us about methylation. How likely is your body to methylate well? And methylation is a big one. If we know we have this particular gene variant, we do want to make sure that we are addressing it, that we are living our lives in such a way that we can improve our methylation. Again, none of this is anything to be worried about, because there is something we can do, epigenetically speaking, to change every single one of these things. That's the most important thing to remember. My particular DNA, if I were to give my PDF to somebody who had never seen me before, and all they did was look through my DNA, they would say, I am going to take a look at a morbidly obese woman. That's what my DNA says. Now, when you look at me, the way my genes are expressing tells a different story. I've always had to work on it. Now, I know this is a blessing, because the fact that I've had to work on it allows me to help you, allows me to help other women. If it came just naturally to me, I don't think I could help as many women as I do. So maybe I haven't always seen it as a blessing, but I do now. Okay, so let's go back to this. Like, why would all of these symptoms be starting now that I am perimenopausal or menopausal? There's an important thing to understand here. So as women or as girls, when we are in our adolescent years, so our pre-childbearing years, the responsibility of the making of our sex hormones is placed on our adrenal glands. Okay. Your adrenal glands are shooting out the sex hormones that we need. Then we enter our childbearing years. Once we've entered our childbearing years and our ovaries are coming into play, now our ovaries are saying, hey, thanks adrenals for everything you've done all these years, but I'm going to take the driver's seat now. I'll produce the estrogen. I'll produce the testosterone. You can keep producing some, but you no longer have to be in the driver's seat. Okay. So a lot of that responsibility is taken off of your adrenal glands. So then you go through life during your childbearing years, whether you're having babies, working a career, being a stay-at-home mom, raising kids, which is like 2 careers, right? So all of these things that you're doing, now we're getting close to our perimenopausal years and our ovaries are getting a little tired, right? In our perimenopausal years, they're still producing, but they're a little tired. So now that responsibility to produce your estrogen, to produce your progesterone, goes back onto your adrenal glands. Now think about it. What has happened to your adrenal glands through all of your childbearing years? We've been stressed. We've been living in a stressed out state, not always bad stress, but even positive stress is stress. And so now your adrenal glands are going, whoa, 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 like I can't produce what the ovaries were producing for sure, but I can't even produce what I was producing before. Because the other thing we have to remember is that your adrenal glands are also responsible for producing cortisol. Now, cortisol is our stress hormone, right? It's our fat storage hormone. So when this responsibility starts to be put back on your adrenal glands and your adrenal glands are going, but wait, I'm producing cortisol. Like this person is living with their foot on the, pedal to the metal. So I've got to produce I've got to produce cortisol. And therefore, there's going to be less of a progesterone production. Progesterone production gets put on the back burner. Okay. This reduction in progesterone is going to affect our sleep, and it's going to affect our mood. Okay, very important. So if you are a little snappy, not wanting to deal with people, it could be that low progesterone. Now, the adrenal glands also produce DHEA. Now, DHEA is an androgen, and testosterone is produced from DHEA. DHEA is a precursor to testosterone. DHEA production also gets put on the back burner because we're so busy shooting out cortisol, this fat storage hormone, that now we're not producing enough progesterone. That's on the back burner. Now we're not producing enough DHEA. So now we have low testosterone. There's your sex drive. Bye-bye, sex drive. So I hope you can see the correlation now, where for those of you who are saying, well, I'm under 35, but why am I struggling with all of these things? For you, it may be that you've stressed yourself into this place. Because if your adrenals have been in overdrive producing cortisol, we're not producing the progesterone that we should produce. We're not producing the testosterone that we should produce. Estrogen usually tends to stick around. That's usually the last to go. That's closer to being menopausal or very perimenopausal. But when we're in this phase of being perimenopausal or stressing ourselves into being perimenopausal, this is when all of the symptoms are going to occur. And from this, anytime our adrenals are as stressed out as they are, now our thyroid is going to be affected. So I, for one, ended up with a hypothyroid diagnosis because of all of this. So if we can get to the bottom of it, if we can figure out where are your hormones, what does your DNA look like? What do we need to prioritize? Then we can create the roadmap so that you can get your energy back, so that you can have steady, right here energy throughout your day, not reaching for coffee, so that you can desire your partner again. sexually, so that you can poop again regularly, so that you can lose the lower belly pooch. These are all things that we can figure out. What you have to do is get to the root of the problem to know, what are we addressing? Just doing another diet, doing another cutting diet, exercising more is not addressing anything. All of those things are more of a Band-Aid. You might see some results. Are they going to stick? I don't know, probably not. So we need to get to the root of what is going on. Now, I haven't mentioned too much about who I am in the video today. Again, you can go back to video 1 to learn a little bit more. And of course, in the masterclass, I'll cover that. But I'm a functional nutritional therapy practitioner and hormone and fat loss specialist. So I use blood chemistry and DNA to help women lose stubborn weight and get their energy back. Okay, so why do I like combining these two? Your DNA is never changing. This gives us a lot of answers. Are you likely to have type 2 diabetes? Now, my DNA says yes. My DNA says, yeah, you are likely to be insulin resistant. Am I? Well, here's why I also combine it with blood chemistry. Because now I can say, well, my DNA says this, but my blood work says, nope, you're doing good. Your blood work are your real-time results. What is actually happening? What is expressing? So if your DNA says you have the MTHFR gene mutation, we can go look at your real-time labs and say, okay, but is it expressing yourself? Because if it is, you're going to have an elevated homocysteine. I did. So my MTHFR was actually affecting me. When you have elevated homocysteine, we know you're not methylating properly. So you get answers by taking a look at both DNA and lab work. Now, for years, all I used was lab work. Did I get results for women? Absolutely. But over time, and going through my own healing process, I realized there's just this missing component. Why, for some women, do they deal with this and others don't? And your DNA can really fill in the blank there. Okay, and give you those answers. Now, and you might be a woman who said, I've had lab work run, but my doctor said my labs are normal, right? Quote unquote normal. Normal from a conventional medicine standard means you're not dying. And that's great news. I always think that you should get that report from your doctor. I think it is fantastic to go to your conventional medicine doctor and have them run your labs so that they can tell you you're not dying, you're free of disease. Now you can go work with a practitioner who's going to help you optimize your health, who's going to help you actually feel better. Okay, those are the two most important things. The other thing is your conventional medicine doctor doesn't run the right labs. They run a very bare minimum set of labs. We need to know what your fasting insulin is, because that fasting insulin is a warning sign that diabetes could be coming. Okay, again, we need to look at your homocysteine. We need to take a look at your DHEA. Without enough DHEA, you're not going to have energy. You just aren't. We need a full thyroid panel, not just the 1 or 2 markers that the doctor runs, but we need a full thyroid panel, antibodies included. Okay, very, very important. We also want to take a look at your HSCRP, your inflammation. What is inflammation looking like in your body? Because if you are struggling with inflammation, you cannot release stored body fat as energy. We've got to get that inflammation gone first, then we can tap into losing fat, releasing fat into your bloodstream so that you can burn it off. Okay, that's very, very important. And I'm sure there's a lot of you watching this who've tried so many diets. You've tried what your friend tried. This worked for that person. It didn't work for you. But you want to make sure that you are eating for your DNA and for where your labs are at right now. That's truly what you want to focus on. So this is what I'm going to expand upon tomorrow in the masterclass, is all the women who have the symptoms that we're talking about here, why you have those symptoms, which is what we talked about today. And then tomorrow in the masterclass, we're going to talk about, so then what do I do with these things? Like, I want these symptoms gone. I want to feel better. That's what we're going to talk about in the masterclass tomorrow. Okay. So sign up for that. Again, if you're on Instagram, go to the link in my bio, sign up for the masterclass there. If you're in my Facebook group, I'll share the link again under this video in the comments. And I'd love to see you there. We're going to go deep. We're diving deep, and I'm going to give you the exact roadmap that I used to get myself to where I am today. Okay. So thank you for being with me for the last 30 minutes. I wanted to keep this down to 30 minutes. I hope you got something out of it. You will get so much more out of the masterclass tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to seeing you there. So again, just as yesterday, so many of you sent me questions after you watched this. Send them my way. Send them to my DMs. I'm here to answer. Okay. If you have any questions. So I will see you all tomorrow.